What are we going to be dragged into now?
Well, what we're going to be dragged into today is nothing less than character creation. Because, as a result of a certain somebody who shall, well, be frankly named and shamed, Liz, choosing to have Trasa side with her Klingon family in the upcoming, shall we say, disagreement between the Federation and the Klingons, that means that we are going to be creating our Klingon crew now, because that's where Trasa's going to end up, is being posted to a Klingon ship. And in order to have a Klingon ship, we need a Klingon crew, which means you guys get to create your Klingon characters. So, you get a chance at basically creating a character for a ship role that you have until now not done. Now, I do believe Dave, who is sadly not here, I believe he reserved ship's doctor. Klingon ship's doctor as the one he wants to do, but he has left me a message since he's not here with us today, since he is currently enjoying being out in a field and probably packing up his stuff ready to come back home. So he's given us leave to create his character, trusting in us, the poor fool, that we will create an amusing character for him, and an interesting character for him to come back to. So, that's what we're going to be doing for today.
Certainly promise interesting.
I believe the only proviso he left us with was his attitude as ship's medic is going to be, "Get up, boy, you're not hurt." Or something along those lines.
So, the EMH system's attitude got it.
Can you imagine the Klingon version of the EMH? Rather than "please state the nature of the medical emergency," it very much becomes of "what is it now?" Okay.
Now that you guys have fun at making your characters. I'll sit back and take a nap.
Well, you know, you get full leave to help contribute as well, since you are our Klingon character, but it does, you can probably take charge of creating Dave's, to be honest. And we'll see how we do.
Ooh. Let's see how interesting I can make his character now.
Well, exactly. Now, a couple of things I want to do before we get started, but the not the least of which is making it so that people who are watching the stream at this present moment in time are just not seeing the red "we will be starting shortly" screen. So, what I am going to do first, whilst folks are signing in, because I notice, Mr. Bell, you're not signed in with us yet?
Not yet, sorry, I've only done my computer's now trying to update itself again. So, I could be a
little
bit
yet. Okay, so...
Yeah. If you want to, go with somebody else for a bit, and I'll
Well,
come
what
back
I'm going to do first is I'm going to turn off the ship rumble. Then I'm going to turn off the intro music. And I'm going to whisk us ever so briefly off to the new and rather brief intro video that we've got. So, literally 8 to 10 seconds, folks. Back in a wee smidge. Told you it was quick. Welcome, folks, to the, well, I can't say the continuing adventures of the USS Combs, because we're not going to be on the Combs tonight. I, of course, am MJ the GM, and I will be your games master for the next 3 hours, but as you can see, I'm in entirely the wrong uniform for this new layout that I'm currently sitting in. Sadly, I am currently without the budget to actually get me some prosthetic forehead ridges and teeth, so you're just going to have to do with my usual visage greeting you, and I do not have my house Klingon house family crest, so you're going to have to make do with the Starfleet comm badge for now. In the meantime, I would like you to welcome you along to the new adventurers adventurers, new adventurers rather, I should say, of a new Klingon crew, which is where Commander Trasa is going to be ending up, since she has chosen to side with her Klingon brethren during the Klingon Federation conflict of 2373. So, in order to do that, you guys, my players, are going to need to make some Klingon crew members. So that's what we're going to be doing with ourselves today. For those of you who are interested in what goes into making a Klingon character in Star Trek Adventures, feel free to hang about. I'm sure there'll be some weird and interesting results popping up. For those who just are here for the episodes and the stories, depending on how well we get through everything today, we might jump into the first mission of the Klingon crew if we get it done fast enough. If not, then we'll probably jump into next week to do that stuff with. So, there we go. Welcome, my new Klingon crew. So, first thing I need to check with you guys is... Well, actually, no. The first thing I need to do is to plug people's stuff. So... Once again, Mr. Powell, you and your Utter Crisp channel. I lay out before those who can see it.
Thank you very much. It's still trucking along. Progress is slowed on the Yakuza video just because I've started a new job recently, but it is still in the works. But in the meantime, there's some some sort of fun retro reviews there for anyone who wants to check those out. And that's me, I think. Thank you.
Yep. And Mr. Bell, as per usual, you've recently reposted links to Solarity, so I will show it up here for folks.
But the good thing is, I've also got a new one out, and I've just posted the link up onto our channel here. It's called B Story Part 1. Sounds cute. I play a wasp. There is swearing. I'm playing the general of the wasp race.
The wasp race.
Yeah.
I know
he's a bit of an arse. Well, I mean, he's a bit of a... Sorry, he's a bit of a...
It's fine. We're kind of PG-12.
Am I allowed to say that? Can I say that? Yeah.
Yeah, you can say that. It's fine.
Okay, I've got to be a bit careful.
Right. There we are. B story number 1, the official dub. If you can see it, there's wrong direction, Matt. There's the linky poo. We just squid you up this way.
The only thing I got to think about it is since I performed the certain ritual with the crew of the Combs.
Yes,
Since
you
I
did.
get it, you gain one additional value. Remember, I was gonna figure out value I wanted that's to be associated with the crew of the Combs.
Yes, the crew of the Combs have now been more or less officially inducted into House Krell, so... Yay. So, Mark, you missed quite a bit last week. Last time, I should say. 2 weeks ago. But, there you go. Now being quickly brought up to speed. So, yes. The main news, of course, is that the Klingons have decided to pick their one-time Federation allies out of Narendra Station, so... Sadly, the Combs crew, who weren't already Klingons, are having to be basically escorted out of Narendra Station back to the Federation space. But that is something else for another episode. In the meantime, I did, as can be those of you who can see, I've already pretty much come up with the name of the ship, and I based the name of the ship on, if everybody remembers, that weird devil dog that was Commander Krug's pet in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. It turned out that they eventually gave a name for the species of that devil dog, so the Kovich, which sounds a bit like COVID, I admit.
Plague ship, is it? Yeah.
However, the Kovich, because that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, does mean devil dog, and I thought that was a rather cool name. If you like it, we'll keep it. I mean, I've got it here in the logo, underneath me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I thought it was groovy. Nevertheless...
I've got a question regarding the banner at the top of this image, where it says Honor, Glory, Death. Is that like the Klingon equivalent of live, laugh, love?
Let's go with probably. I mean, it is pretty much a very Klingon equivalent, let's admit. Now, before we go any further, I do repeat the offer that I made you guys last time at the end of the session after we'd finished the stream, which was very much like we've done with the combs. There is the option of the captain. Since the captain gives out the orders, at least for the mission and stuff like that, the captain can be a non-player character, NPC. Do you want to continue with that tradition, or does somebody want to take the chance of being a captain? Obviously, Liz, you don't get a choice in this one. I'm afraid.
Yeah, I think I'm gunning for the engineer myself.
I could be. Well, I wouldn't mind being Captain Ce'Back.
Now, do you want to make your own captain, or are you happy with Captain Ce'Back as I've made him?
I think I'm happy with him as he is. I don't want to. I want to be a puppet master. I don't want to get too invested in a, Connie original character.
We don't need to know their names, otherwise it'll just make their deaths that much harder.
Exactly.
All right, let me pass control of Captain Ce'Back over to you then. I mean, you should already be able to see him, but I'm going to officially instate Connie as owner as Captain Ce'Back. So he stands as a reasonably good example of the Klingon core rulebook's character creation bits and bobs. Not wholly dissimilar to the Starfleet equivalent from the first core rulebook, with some added differences. But we'll get to that as the other folks are making their characters. And Connie, if something comes up that you think is interesting and you want to change about Captain Ce'Back after hearing a certain something, it's well within your rights to, so don't consider this to be the be-all and end-all by any means. Now, the first thing I want to check is that everybody has got access to the Klingon core rulebook via my Dropbox folder. I did paste the link last time. I can paste the link again if you really need me to. Go away, Dropbox.
Bingo.
Found it?
Yeah. Got it.
Cool. And I confirm then that everybody knows where to find it.
Yep, got it. Yep.
Okay.
Having a mosey.
Oh, trolls.
I see what you did there.
Bit of subliminal advertising.
Wow.
Okay, those of you who are pulling up the core rulebook, I will direct you to essentially, once again, the difference between your PDF reader's actual page number and the page number given in the document itself might differ a bit. Mine's out by about 4, so what should be page 96 for me is actually page 100. But nevertheless, life path character creation is the page you are looking for, which should be on page 96 as it appears in the bottom left corner.
This is a long book. My God.
It is a long book, but it's a similarly long book because it's essentially the same core rule book as the Starfleet Federation equivalent. So the Klingon core rulebook they made quite cleverly, with the idea is that this is the only book you'll need to play Klingons with. So it's got all the rules in as a result, with a couple of updated things here and there. It's slightly different, but overall the same stuff that you are familiar with. So, Liz, you can pretty much do Dave's one as we go through it. So the first step I'm going to ask folks to look at, if you've all now got the thing open on the correct page.
Yep.
Is that you'll see step 1 is the easy step, and that's choosing a species. So if we turn the page over so that we're on page 98. Actually, have I missed a step? No, I'm right. Okay. So step 1 is to choose a species. Now, you do have the option, if you really, really want to, of playing one of the Kuchra Klingons, who are the Klingons without the forehead ridges, but it has been established in Deep Space Nine by this point that even those Klingons who were Kuchra have been turned back to the regular scheduled programming of Klingons. So, in all likelihood, everyone is going to play the Klingon species as it is shown on the top of page 98. So, everyone, if you open up the various blank character sheets that I've given you, which you can find in the actors side of things on Foundry, if you scroll down, you should find that there's a folder called IKS Covige Crew Plus Ship. Likely somewhere near the bottom. If you open that, you can see that there's some of the pre-made characters that I created using these very rules, and there are also blank ones, if you guys want to make your own. So, feel free to open up the ones that you want to do yourselves, but the first step is... Ooh, blimey. Well, Mark, you were quick off the mark with that one. Quick off the mark. See what I did?
Random Klingon name generator.
If you want a really good random Klingon name generator, I heartily recommend this one that I'm going to post as well, because this one also gives you things like your alternative name and stuff like that. But of course, you're all in the same house effectively, so House of. But if I remember correctly, let me generate a name here. Talk House of Kyosan. The name generator could also be very useful for creating your, because Klingons have name son/daughter of name. So choose one or the other. It's up to you which ones you want to do. So
my computer's being slow again.
Okay, there's no problem.
Right, sorry. Klingon name generator.
I think I'm happy to go with this sort of like the pre-established doctor. What's her name? Lieutenant Oketha.
Ah.
She's actually got like a really good engineering, medicine, and science stats. So I'm sort of like, I'm happy to play this character, I think.
Cool. I kind of...
Actually, no, I was thinking about being an engineer. Sorry, hang on a second. I've mixed myself up here. Bear with me a sec. No, it would be... I beg your pardon. I'll go for Lieutenant Shilatha.
The engineer. That's the one.
Yes, that's right, because Dave wanted the doctor. I beg your pardon. I'm just so used to seeing, like, I saw she had like, the doctor stats, and I'm so used to looking at those. It's like, ooh. But yeah, no, I'll go for the engineer.
Cool. I liked... I was going... let me start again. Finding reasonably good images of Klingons is actually hard to come by, especially because a lot of them are ones that are already established. So I liked this one because this lady's face looks like she is so sick of your shit.
Exactly.
You've got to imagine a Klingon engineer probably takes a lot of flack.
Yeah. I've had that kind of face look working on technology before.
So you've got a good place where you can come from. Plus, I randomly generated that she's enlisted rather than went to military academy, so she was originally a civilian that came in. Mm-hmm. I think the values I came up with were pretty funny.
Somewhere.
Some solutions need things to be hit.
As well. Yeah, I like this woman. I'll play as her.
So, there we go. But once again, as with Connie, who has chosen to go with one of my pre-mades, you can feel free to alter them if something comes up that you think is a bit more interesting. I
might look at like...
Yes.
I might just like roll the Klingon name generator, but
that's fine.
Otherwise...
I'm going to bring Shalatha out anyway, just so you can have a tinker. But for those who are at this moment looking at their blank character sheet and wondering what to do first, it's quite simple.
In the interests of speed, go for Commander Crotan.
Now, Crotan was the tactical officer that I created, so...
Yeah, I might go for him. Just use the random name generator.
Let me bring Crotan out.
What was the house name, sorry?
Krell. It should automatically be there in the traits part of your character sheet, because it is a trait, House Krell. So everybody should have in their traits House Krell, as well as Klingon. And any other traits that are not required, but, you know, useful.
I think I'll stick with the name. Nothing's really coming up in the generator.
Okay. Entirely your decision.
Okay, I got one here. I'm just gonna. Where's my? There's the name. I'll put up.
So you're looking at yours at the moment, okie dokie.
Yep.
There we go.
How you say that?
Luthlol Dos. Any accusations that he is in fact nothing but a lowly dosser will be met with force. Lithulol. Okay.
Okay.
Drag you out here.
Let's see. Oh no, I think probably something fairly low down that he might have. He's trying to get it back his honor. So
Well,
something fairly.
let's see what we've got so far. We've got the captain. We've got a first officer. We've now got a tactical officer. You have changed the name, so let me change the name in the other place as well.
Oh, I probably something maybe a little bit above ensign, but not not too high up. He's trying to claw back his.
Well, that's fine. So we've got the tactical officer. We've got an engineer. We're still missing Dave's. That's a good Klingon name, Dave. Let's keep it. Dave, son of John. House Krell. What was I saying? Lithulol Dos. I mean, what we're missing. What roles are we missing at the moment? We don't have a helm officer. We don't have ops, and we don't have science. So
I think he's probably not up. I think.
ops. Ops. Okay. Well, there is the option if you want. This guy here, Commander Voth, was the one I made as an ops officer, so if you want, have a look through his character sheet first, see if anything rings like it might be fun. If it doesn't, we can go through the rest of the character creation steps.
Okay. Yeah, definitely learning from failure. Due to war. Survival definitely needs.
Yep, he's a pragmatic survivor type.
Yep. So essentially, he has messed up big time, and he's basically trying to claw back his honor. And...
Okay, so maybe we shouldn't make him commander. Maybe we should make him something else.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, not quite ensign, but
yeah. Let's have a look then. If you're happy with what I've done with Voth here, then what I can do is kill that, move him up, and rename this fellow. To be what you have now called him. Okay, back. Nice back with us, Liz. Cool. Let's think. If not ensign, then the only thing you're going to have next is lieutenant. So.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to be a lieutenant then.
So let's just put his name up so everyone can continue to see. Boink. So he's not commander, he's an LT. He's on operations. If you're alright with the stats, then yes, his values are very much about adaptability, survival, self-reliance. Here's an interesting one for you that may give a clue as to why he might have been demoted. I did come up with the value to serve the Empire. You might have to save it from itself.
Yeah.
As well as freedom of thought is key. Challenge others on their preconceptions. So you never know. He might have made some some influential old timers rather cross. And he's paid for it. But let's see how we do. All right. Okay. So. Who have we got left then? Mr. Bell has taken Lethulol. Mr. P, you have taken Engineer Lieutenant Shalatha. Connie, you've taken Captain Ce'Back. Liz, you're still Trasa. Merc, you decided to go with Trigok, the tactical officer. Was that right?
That's right.
Cool. Which leaves us with fabricating Dave's Klingon character. Now, out of the pre-made characters that I did, none of them were medics, so how about we all combine and make ourselves a cross Klingon medic? So the first thing we do... Go on, sorry.
The first one I was looking at just now with the Lieutenant Okitha, she's got like engineering, medicine, and science, and she's also got like doctor's orders and field medicine as well. So pretty close.
Yeah. So maybe just throw her in and just give her a new name. Or Dr. Okitha.
Dr. Dave Okitha.
Everybody okay with that?
Switch out one of the talents.
Which one in particular?
Maintenance specialist. Do I have security for the next one? Yep. And change it for shield breaker.
If you want.
Cool.
So, who am I looking at?
And I'll just delete maintenance specialist.
Yep, you know where to find talents, I take it?
Yep.
Shield breaker. There we go. Cool. Cool in the gang. Alright then, so it turns out I don't need these blank character sheets after all. Woohoo! Alright, so let's have a look at Dr. Okitha just to make sure that we are good with what we made, in case we need to. I'm glad, Mark, that we went with Trigok rather than what the hell you just made. Womek Kompatskirk. That sounds like something you say when you've been hit on the head too hard. What's your name? Mpakskirk. Answers to Dave. I don't know, don't look at me like that. Right, okay, so we've got the makings of a crew. Neato burrito. So who have we not got left? We've got Lieutenant Shatran, who is a helm officer. That's somebody we don't have. So he's going to be a non-player character, no doubt. But for the rest, we've got pretty much everybody. Nice, right. A quick look over Dr. Okitha, then. So the first thing you get with a Klingon is daring and fitness and presence all go in. Daring is 9, which is about reasonable for a medic. Fitness 9, which is not reasonable. It's actually really good for a medic. And presence. Presence 8, not bad. Traits, you get your house trait. Talents, you get, you have to take Bracklol as your first talent, which means that your resistance to non-lethal attacks goes up by 2. And unlike Starfleet, Klingons actually have their uniform count as 1 point of armor, so already you've got that much more going for you than the Federation lot. So after that, the environment we were brought up in. Now, what we've written so far for Dr. O'Keefe here was that she/they were brought up on kind of a satellite planet in the Empire, so not from many of the major houses, not from Kronos or anything like that, one of the outlying conquered territories, actually. So are we good for that as an upbringing for the doc, or do we want to search for another one? If you want to know which ones I'm talking about, if you've still got the Klingon Core rulebook opened, open it to page 100, and at the very top there's a list of environments. So Kronos, I should say, obviously, is the Klingon homeworld, so it gives you either +1 to daring and fitness, or +1 to presence and command, security, or science. Sorry, pardon me. Daring, fitness, or presence. Command, security, or science. If you're in the core worlds, then obviously you're a lot closer to home. If you're on an isolated colony, or a frontier colony, obviously your insights are a bit different.
Well, but the medic, it does make sense to have the isolated colony because of the medicine, the option for medicine +1.
That's what I thought.
Above the colonies.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody good with that? Okay. So, yes, unlike the Federation, where they have member worlds with various degrees of status, the Klingons obviously are conquerors, and therefore they have many vassal worlds and species underneath themselves. So, yeah. So Dr. O'Keefe comes from one of those. Obviously a planet that was where the native inhabitants were conquered by the Klingons, and then basically a Klingon colony, which is another word for basically their overseers, established things like defensive fortifications and places that they can monitor this vassal state from. So, yes, I don't think the Federation like to freely acknowledge it, but Klingons do actually have slave races working for them. Some. I think it's very rare. I think it's only happened once or twice, but there has been 1, maybe 2 instances of a Klingon vassal species rising up against the Klingons and basically demanding that they be given pretty much equal status. And it has worked maybe twice, where the Klingons were impressed enough with these species for throwing off the shackles of slavery and standing up for themselves, and that earned a good deal of respect. So the Klingon High Council has awarded, I forget the actual term, but basically honorary member status to those vassal states, those vassal species that that basically kicked the Klingons in the teeth and said, we'd like to be treated equally, thanks. But for the most part, the Klingons do conquer other worlds and pretty much put them to work mining and farming and stuff like that. So this is where Dr. O'Keefe comes from. Next along the list of stuff that we do is your caste. Every character has a caste that they come from. For the most part, of course, it's very popular to be from the warrior caste, but not everybody is. There are the merchant caste, the scientific caste, the agricultural caste, the artistic caste, the academics. Obviously, none are more celebrated than the warriors, so there you go. For the most part, I think, yes, Commander Tregok here, our tactical officer, actually began as a trained labourer. So he started off as something like an agricultural worker. But being a tactical officer means he more than likely fought his way up through the ranks. Everybody else, I do believe... Actually, it says they're in upbringing. So, warrior, rebel, rebelled. So, once again, Chris Bell, your guy, Lethulol, was brought up in the warrior caste, but rebelled against it. Whereas Tregok was brought up in the warrior caste, but very much accepted it. Okitha was brought up in the scientific caste, as one might imagine. Shalatha was brought up as a warrior but rebelled against it. Captain Javak was actually brought up during the agriculture caste. So there you go, your captain actually started off life as a farmer. So that gives you an idea as to the grit of this man. And your helm officer started off as an academic. All things. So there we go.
I think, therefore, I can fire phasers.
Exactly. Well, he's the pilot, so he's going to be the one flying at potentially dangerous velocities.
Ramming speed.
The Trasa maneuver, yes, indeed. Or is it called the Hopkins maneuver? I forget. Training is basically the same as the career path of Starfleet, where they put you in either command, operations, or science. Similarly, with the Klingons, it's command, tactical, or enlisted, or labourer. As such, I think I pointed out Tregok was a labourer. Most everybody else is on the warrior caste, except, of course, for those who are obviously on the scientific. Lieutenant Shilatha, the engineer, started off as an enlisted warrior. Therefore, chose to enlist as an ordinary person, could not gain admission to one of the prestigious military academies, so joined the Defence Force as one of the rank and file. So basically worked her way up through the ranks from the civilian branch or arm of things, if that's what I'm getting correctly out of that. None of you are veterans and therefore have the veteran talent. None of you are young warriors. So, a couple of career events should be listed in your notes section on the bottom left of your character sheets. For instance, Shalatha was required to take command at one point, but also solved an engineering crisis. Dr. Okitha had a serious injury where she lost her right arm below the elbow and now has a prosthetic, and has an encounter with a truly alien being. Lethulal also had glorious conquest in his past and was required to take command at some point, which might have been what led to his momentary disgrace. Our tactical officer had glorious battle in his past, as well as an encounter with a truly alien being, and the captain, glorious battle again, maybe with Tregok, I should say. Maybe these two guys know each other. But Captain Javak made a scientific breakthrough in the field of propulsion. That's interesting. Your helm officer actually dealt with a plague, of all things. As well as glorious battle. So those are the kind of backgrounds we look at. Anybody who wants to have a look at what backgrounds and career events there are, you can turn to page 108 of the core rulebook, and there's a list of about 20. If you see one that you think might fit better with the picture you're forming in your head of the character you are going to be piloting, feel free to say so and we will change it. I'll give you just a couple of seconds to have a look over that while I recharge my voice. So anybody with any changes, or they like what they've got so far?
I'm good. Yep. I like this one.
Everybody else happy?
Yep.
Yep.
Spiffing. In which case, we come to the bit that I know Liz had a bit of a, shall we say, a vocal... was a bit vocal about, and rightly so. The ship. Now, originally, I painted the House Krell as being, well, they still are very much a middle household. They're not one of the high houses. They're certainly not the low houses. So they're kind of in between, on the ascension, as it were. So, originally, I just grabbed a good, old, reliable Burrell class bird of prey as the ship. However, if you want to try a different space frame, you can turn to page 207 in the Klingon core rulebook, and that's where the space frames start off. Obviously, the older the space frame, the more refits it's going to need. But we can do that, no problem. So there's the old D5s, the Raptor class scout vessels, the old Vontok birds of prey, the very first of its line, the Katoch scouts, which I believe is what the Guicha is, the Tiyuk exploratory ship. And at about page 212, we get to the D7 battlecruiser. And the Burrell class bird of prey. There's an advance, of course, the Patchnom multi-role escort vessel. Or the Katoch heavy fighter. Good grief, what's that one? The Uchapar Heavy Explorer, the D12 bird of prey. Anybody who remembers seeing Star Trek Generations, the bird of prey that the Duras sisters turn up in that had the problem with the plasma coils, that was the old D12 class bird of prey. So slightly more advanced than the Burrell class, but had a bit of a bad reputation. Then, of course, there's the much bigger class ship, the Cavort class bird of prey. Artok transport ships, they're more cargo vessels. And the highest I will allow you to go is the Vorchak class attack cruiser. Purely because at the moment, House Krell is on the ascension and, as such, has been winning some favour with Chancellor Gowron. So, if you really want to go for a bigger ship, a bigger, better, badder ship than a standard Burrell bird of prey, I will allow you to go as high up as, and most recent as, the Vorchat attack cruiser. You are certainly not a big enough house yet to go for the Navar. What was that, sorry, Mark?
I
will defer to Liz.
I'm trying to find the attack cruiser in the pages.
Which one? The Vorcha. Page 222.
Yeah, which page? Okay.
Or rather 223, I should say. That's where the official bits start turning up. So what I'm going to do is...
Oh, okay, there it is. The Vorcha attack cruiser. It is a... Scale 5. What scale is this?
Well, let me put this up here for the moment. This blank thing here is going to be our Vorcha. So first things first, what do we know about it? It has got the traits Klingon Starship. I mean, Liz, if you want to start filling these in.
Oh, that's gonna be great, because this is gonna be a skill 5. This is gonna be bigger than even the combs. I can access them.
Yeah, let me change that so you can actually access it. Give me a momento. Good point, well made. Ownership. You all need to have ownership of this, so badoink! Try now. So traits should have Klingon Starship in it, which is the input field just above shields. Seems to have hung for a moment. All the fun, somebody's knocking at the door. Yeah, sir. Thank you very much. Not for me. Never mind. Okay, so everybody who wants to watch along with what's going on, feel free to open the Vorcha as it's there. So, Klingon Starship in the traits. So, all the good and bad points about it being a Klingon Starship go in the traits. So, we start off with comms of 9. Computers 9, which is unusual for a Klingon ship. Engines 10. Oof. Sensors 9. That's not much of a surprise. Structure is also 10, and surprise, surprise, weapons are 10. Scale of this is 5, so it is quite a bit bigger than the combs, yes indeed.
It's only a size bigger.
Right, so you've got 1 stop in command, 2 in security. Okay, let's put those in for now. Right, so that's what comes with a standard Vorcha chassis. What's the word I'm looking for? Space frame. What was it? Do I have any images of Vorcha cruisers that I can use to just paste in here? Let's have a look. Star Trek. Where did I put my list of Star Trek stuff? V for Vorcha. I do not. Alright then. Somebody wants to find me a suitably cool looking Vorcha image, I will be most grateful. I mean, you could probably find loads, but if you could find one that looks nice and dramatic, that would be all the better. Somebody's got one. Okay. What do we think, everybody? Everyone go with that one? It is very sweet.
Oh yeah.
Trying to find a more dramatic one.
Feel free.
It looks like it's brooding.
I always did like how the Vorcha looked like they had a face. I think there was something established early on as well in the when the model first came out, that whole front section kind of deploys like a gigantic torpedo if they need to. I think they've since written that out, but I seem for some reason to recall that was a thing that the Vorcha could do. Okay, that's got a star field behind it, that's not bad. More of a dense star field. Of course, you guys at home aren't seeing this at the moment, so just trust me when I say it's so far pretty cool seeing a Vorcha attack cruiser with a field of stars behind it. Anybody else got any other images they think won't do? Oh, yep. Speak and I shall be rewarded. Oh, that one's shooting.
Action shot.
Literally. Do we
This
want to?
one's going fast and shooting.
Okay, let's have a look.
That's
Oh
anybody.
yes, there's a lot of pew pew
Oh.
going on there.
Oh. No.
And the same one. Nice. Okay.
That's very cool.
That does look very cool. So, does anybody have a favourite?
That one or the first one, I think.
Well, yeah, I think that that last one just got put up there. The
So far that's 2.
firing speed.
So we'll have the shooty bang bang fire one. Okay, gotcha. Make sure that goes in the right place so that I can upload it. Nice. Nice. Oh, before I actually give it to this, we need a name. Now, are you happy with the name I gave it, which was the Covige, or does that sound too much like COVID, and you want a different ship name? Especially because we
Jeffrey.
now. Sorry.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. All right, put it through the Klingon translator. We'll find out what Jeffrey is in Klingon.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, yeah. Klingon dictionary. Let's see. What does the Klingon dictionary tell us? Any word we want to search for that you think might be... Actually, let me give you the link to this Klingon dictionary. You guys can have a go as well. Babu. It's the one I found.
Here's my
Bornak. Ooh, I like that. What's that translate as? Chicken.
The funny part is I actually typed in Klingon ship names for the this class,
Oh, okay.
and that was one of the names that came up.
So it was actually House Krell's ship all along. Anyone got any advance on Vornak? Actually, let me change its parent so that actually comes across. Right, any advances on Vornak, or are we good?
I've got an approximately translation. 2 seconds.
Righty ho. We have got the Do Ce'Bach. Closest translation of Mordaka.
Yeah, I go for that one.
Do Ce'Bach. The Spamok. It's a bit tough to
Tones
get you.
backwards.
Of course. Silly me for not realizing. Spamok. That's a bit difficult to say in a hurry. But then again, so is Do Ce'Bach. But I managed it then, so. Alright, so far we have Vornak, Do Ce'Bach, and maybe the Spamok. So, yeah, votes. Who likes what best? I mean,
I'm
more
biased, but I do rather like the Spamok.
Dukabatch, I think.
Okay, one for Spamok, one for Do Ce'Bach. Liz, your preference? Nope.
I mean, we're getting a bigger ship.
What's in a name as long as we get a bigger ship? Okay. Mark, your preference may very well lie with the one that you fielded.
It's silly, but I don't mind. So I will vote for Do Ce'Back, but I don't mind.
So far we have 2 for Do Ce'Bach and 1 for Ce'Bach.
Out of curiosity, what's the current year in the game?
2373, I do believe.
So this ship's pretty new.
Newish, yep. So as such, like I said, the Vorcha is representative of a big old favor from Gowron.
What a nice man.
As long as you stay on his good side. So, we've got 2 votes for the Do Ce'Bach and a couple for abstaining as long as it's cool. So, it looks like we're going to be going with the Do Ce'Bach. So, let's change that. We are the IKS Do Ce'Bach. Change it there as well. The Imperial Klingon ship Do Ce'Bach. So the designation, we will come back another time. It is a Vorcha attack cruiser. Service date is, well, from the sounds of it, pretty recent. I think it was 2371, wasn't it?
2367.
67. Yes, quite right. 67. So it's not old enough to have gone through any refits, but still recent enough that it is. Okay, so now we need a mission profile. So I do believe what you chose as mission profile for the Combs was basically a general response vehicle. Let me just make absolutely sure I'm not making that up. Multi-role explorer, actually, pardon me, was what you chose for the Combs. So it was meant to be a ship that could fill most gaps that was needed, as well as being an exploration vessel. But mission profiles for your ships will start on page 225. So first we have is crisis response and interception. So the mission profile will determine what type of talents you have, which is a good old point, because now I need to go back to the Vorcha and fill in the blanks, which is weapons, whilst you're having a look at that lot. So ship weapons, what do we get for ship weapons? Ship weapons. We get disruptor cannons, good lord.
Disruptor banks.
As well as disruptor banks. Photon torpedoes. And a tractor beam.
Strength 4.
A strength 4 tractor beam. Okay.
Oh, and then the talents are, it's a command ship, improved hull integrity, and cloaking device.
So, strength of the tractor beam is 4, so that's 2 above what we... Actually, no, let me hold fire on that, because we don't know what the security thingy for that's going to be yet. But for disruptor banks we include scale, and for disruptor cannons we include scale. Cool. And the talents, cloaking device, locking device, because of course, command ship, which essentially means that when you succeed at a direct task to create an advantage, you can get the ship to actually assist and confer the advantage to allied ships or away teams. So that's not bad.
And an improved hull integrity.
Which basically means it's a bit harder to damage. So improved hull integrity gives you extra resistance. So a scale 5 ship with a resistance of a scale 6 ship. Tough ship. Okay. So that's what we've got going for us. So, like I said, crisis response and interception gives you an emphasis more on engineering and gives you talents like advanced medical ward, extensive shuttle bays, improved impulse drive, and improved warp drive, That's on page 225. Moving on from there, multi-role battle cruiser, so it's got even scores across all departments. And you can choose from improved damage control, improved hull integrity, which you've already got, so you can't take again, redundant systems, and secondary reactors to draw even more power. Intelligence and reconnaissance, so there's more of an emphasis on science, a bit less on medicine, and then the rest are all pretty average. You get access to electronic warfare systems, improved reaction control, improved warp drive, and high-resolution sensors, not unlike the cones. Scientific and survey mission, as the name suggests, more emphasis on science, less emphasis on maneuverability. You get advanced medical, advanced research, advanced sensors, and laboratories. There's strategic and diplomatic, which gives you a command ship talent, which you've already got, extensive shuttle bays, and rugged design. Or there's plain old warship, which is the combat one. Obviously, interestingly enough, this has got emphasis on, obviously, security as a department, but also on engineering. It'll also give you access to the talent ablative armor. Yikes. Fast targeting systems, improved damage control, quantum torpedoes, and rapid-fire torpedo launcher. Yikes. Then there's the final, what's it called again? Mission profile, House Guard. So it's a house's defensive ship with a strong emphasis in engineering, less of an emphasis on medicine. You gain access to backup EPS conduits, improved power systems, redundant systems, and rugged design. So a House Guard sounds like it's got more for going long-lasting. But a warship obviously going for full-on combat capabilities. So any of those grab your interest?
I quite like the idea of the warship with ablative armor, because that really increases our resistances.
From the way that Liz is giggling, I'm guessing she agrees.
We're Klingons, damn it.
Yeah, I was definitely leaning towards warship. Either the armor or one of the two torpedo talents.
The rapid fire increases rep, I think.
The rapid fire essentially gives you extra damage to a full spread of torpedoes that you launch, which I hasten to remind folks also gives me extra threat. But yeah, it means you fire that many more torpedoes on a volley.
But the quantum torpedoes, what do they do?
Well, they are extra damaging than photon torpedoes, so they would replace your photon torpedoes with quantum torpedoes.
This vessel has been equipped with the latest in ship-to-ship munitions, the quantum torpedoes. This ship has quantum torpedoes in addition to any other forms of torpedoes it carries.
So there we are, photon and quantum.
I'd lean more towards ablative armor, because then we have a resistance increase of, what was that, 33%?
So ablative armor will give you 2 extra resistance, which means you will go up to resistance 8.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's my vote. Warship with armor.
Okay, so profile is going to be warship. No refits because it's too recent. Traits, Klingon starship. Sorry, I interrupted somebody putting something up there, so I'm going to do that again. Disruptive canisters, photon torpedoes. Alright, so we're going for the warship profile, yes? I mean, as if I need encouragement. Yeah. So command goes up to 3. Con goes at 2, which is not unreasonable. Engineering is not bad with a 3. Medicine is also low priority, so the doctor's going to be complaining a lot about lack of space. Science also only gets 1. But security is all the way up to 5.
And then I've already added the armor.
That disruptor cannon damage.
Now, remember, you can only have as many ship talents as you have scale. So you've currently got Cloaking Device, Command Ship, Improved Hull Integrity, and Ablative Armor. You've got one more that you can choose from the Warship talent list on page 227. So you've already got Ablative Armor, which puts your resistance to stupendous amounts.
Yeah, that's what we were choosing for, was the Ablative Armor talent.
Yes. So you now have the option of fast targeting systems, which, if you want to know what they do, if I recall, you do not suffer difficulty increases to targeting and hitting, rolling to hit, a specific system on an enemy ship. So usually you just fire and you let the random tables denote what ship system you actually hit. But if you've got fast targeting systems, that enables you to actually more easily target a specific system when you go after an enemy ship. Improved damage control essentially means that you have got any damage control or repair has an advantage. If you do damage control while in combat, you can re-roll a single d20, and if you do repairs via an extended task, you get some bonuses to effects that go on to help repair the ship even faster. Quantum torpedoes are obviously quantum torpedoes. They are more damaging than a photon torpedo and can do some serious damage to another ship if their shields are down. But there's also the rapid fire torpedo launcher, which means rather than adding whenever you add 3 threat to fire a torpedo salvo, you can re-roll a single d20 and any number of challenge dice on the damage roll. So you give me a whole heap of threat, but you can not only re-roll on the attack, but you can re-roll damage dice without expending momentum. Up to ye, of course.
That's too much chance based and gives you threat. So I'm not a fan of the.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd be.
Torpedo launcher.
Oh, I thought we only chose one.
Yeah, you
Talent.
got
One more space.
So those are your choices. Does anybody?
Oh, because we wouldn't have the armored normally.
Because we have a scale of 5, so we can get another one. So we keep the armor. Then in addition to that, we can pick another one.
Yeah. And your choices are currently
because on
fast
the bug it
targeting,
just says
improved
select
damage
one.
control, quantum torpedoes, or rapid fire torpedo launcher.
And improved damage control. Let's pop that in.
Any preferences, do we think?
Of those, I think fast targeting is probably the best.
Fast targeting sounds nice.
Or I'd flip a coin between fast targeting or quantum torpedoes.
So it's either basically hit faster or hit harder.
Hit more precisely or hit harder.
So it's instead of hitting a random system,
You can hit a dedicated system.
hit
Yes.
a dedicated system and not take an improved. We don't increase difficulty, which could be useful.
As much as I want to hit, I think it might be wiser to be able to hit right.
So that sounds like 3 for fast targeting systems and 1 for quantum torpedoes, and I include Mark in. That's a 50-50 there between both of them, so.
Sounds like fast targeting.
Yeah.
Fast targeting you shall have.
I mean, the disruptor cannons with our security is currently doing 12. So.
Yep. So we are talking some serious earth-shattering kaboom. So let's
Do
find that.
disruptor cannons count as energy weapons?
Absolutely, they do.
Excellent. That I can use my shield breaker with that.
So let's give you the image for your ship. Nah, let's not bother with a coloured background. Let's just give them what they've got. Badoink. Here we are, in all her glory, her literal glory. Actually, I'm just taking it away so people can't see. Let's, here we are. Look at that. Isn't she beautiful?
Oh yeah.
Alright, crikey day. Right, so that's quite a bit behind that ship. Let's see if there are any finishing touches we need to do here. Right, refits are only for really old types of ships that need to be brought up to date. So we've done talents, traits. Starships, more than technologies, have at least one trait. Starships may have other traits representing some other aspect of their nature. Yeah, so you can have other traits representing whether or not it's a if it's a prototype ship, if it's a well-renowned or a long-serving ship, which, considering it was service date is 67, is not... It's only 6 years, so long-serving wouldn't be that big. I will put the gift from Gowron trait in there for your ship, which will be both a boon. So any folks that come across your ship, especially if they are from other Klingon houses, will recognize that it's a sign of favor from the Chancellor himself. However, if there are any houses that oppose Gowron, that might make them think a bit differently about you, and therefore paint an easy target on your back. So traits can work both positively and negatively, so yeah. Well, there's only one mission objective, really, and that's for the glory of the Empire. You don't bother with that whole Prime Directive nonsense that the Federation came up with. Oh no. Alright, is everybody happy with what we've just created?
I think so, yeah.
I'm liking the weapons layout. Yep.
It certainly has a good amount of kaboom. Now, why did that not stick? Always for everyone. Show shields, show power, update. It's better. Shields is the blue bar, power is the green bar, as per usual. Okay. Alright. Well, in that case, let me grab your characters and send you to the bridge. Okay. Now, obviously, this bridge map will look very familiar. I only have so much budget. Screw it, you know.
I do not have vision at the moment.
You do not have vision. Thank you for telling me. So let's...
Yep, same here.
Let's change that. There was an update recently, so it may have thrown some...
there we go.
thrown some configuration settings back to default. There we are. So obviously, the command thrown here is for Captain Ce'Back, so Connie, feel free to assume position. The first officer is usually standing and somewhere near the captain, so there we go. Tactical officer, if I recall, is usually the fella around about this console by here. Ops, I believe, is this one over yonder. I will move Shatran over to Helm. Do you want to keep your character names and ranks up for the time being? Or do you want them to disappear and only appear on a rollover?
Can I get the commander shortened to
DMDR? Yeah, sure.
Cheers.
Spadook.
Ooh.
Something just reset. That was weird. Alright, reassume your positions, I suppose. Shatran's name up, just to get everybody used to. So Helm tends to go on by there. Tactical, Ops, and then you've got other stations dotted around. Actually, Ops can probably co-host this area with the engineer, so that means Shalatha and Lathulal Dos have to share a station. Whether or not Shalatha's okay with this is entirely up to Chris.
A bit cozy, innit? Hang on. I'll go up there.
Okay. Alright. So, welcome to the bridge of your ship. I am just going to bring up engineering as well. Toggle. So our chief engineer also needs to know that they can go down there. Let me just check. Currently empty, so let's at least put a copy of our chief engineer on the engineering deck. And for the moment, we're just going to go with some basic Klingons as the engineering underlings. Supporting characters can crop up as and when, in a similar fashion to Lieutenant Shatran there. Alright. Any ideas, any questions, comments or concerns, anything anybody wants to add to all of this, or do you want to get going? I will take that as a let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's start shooting things.
Let's go shoot things. Nice. Indeedy do. Excuse me. Okay, before we fire on then, I am going to direct your attention to... Let me just make sure you can see this before I direct you there. There we go. Right, if I can direct your attention to the journal entries area on the right-hand side. In a similar vein to actors, 2 across is journals, and you will want Klingon House Krell as the journal entry that you can bring up. Now, as an option, rather than taking a career or one of those options you had at character creation, you could have taken House Krell, and that gives you certain advance in certain attributes which is determined by what the house status is. But I figured that would make everybody too samey, so I used more random roles to create a more varied selection of characters. So if we had chosen Klingon House Krell as a means of drawing on what we wanted, then it would have given us +1 daring and +1 presence. But just to give you an idea of the house that you are now part of, your house is led by Tuvrock, son of Kyo, and your house is old but resurgent, which means it's on its way back up the ranks. So it's been around for a while, kind of been middling around in the lower middle bits for a while, but now is coming back. We've got a list of potential values for what the house kind of believes in. endure pain. If you cannot fail, you cannot succeed. A Klingon does not back down from a challenge. So that kind of gives you an idea as to the kind of views of House Krell. Usually they are all warriors. So those of you who are warriors, that makes a lot of sense. As such, they gain a bonus to security if you'd have taken it. So they like to concentrate very much on warfare. It would have given us access to talents, which you can take later as these characters start appearing more and we play them more. They may all gain access to milestones, just like your other Starfleet main characters do. And as such, that's a good point. The head of the house is actually Trasa's uncle, Tuvrock. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is entirely up to how you perceive it. But there are two talents.
We'll take out Trasa's family tree, okay?
That's fine, that's fine. But you will gain access to the Ancestral Blade House talent. So you can get access to that later. Trained from birth suggests one that's at character creation, but I'll allow you to take that later. Because sometimes these things take time to show through. But it means that you have had the finest instruction in the ways of battle thanks to the house's legacy. Which makes sense because you've got Lady Jadak who's in charge of training all the warriors of this house. So yes, the house temperament is calm and stoic. So models of reserve and discipline with calm certainty. Now this doesn't mean that you guys are not what we might call regular Klingons. If any of you did actually watch that link I threw you, which was from that game that QuickTime game from quite a while ago. I'm looking in entirely the wrong place. If I can just roll back and find it. Yes, Star Trek Klingon from 1996. Way back when. That's actually quite an interesting little look at what Klingons are like in their own houses and amongst each other, kind of thing. But nonetheless, yes, Klingons for the most part are quite passionate and loud people. As such, they very much wear their emotions on their sleeves. So the moment someone's annoyed, they don't clam up. They pretty much let you know about it the instant you offend them in some fashion. And likewise, if they're very enthusiastic about something, they get right into it from the word go. Klingons aren't much about restraint, but House Krell at least are known to face challenges with calm certainty and resilience when they meet such things, so something to bear in mind. At the moment, the house's influence is 7 out of 10, so yeah, kind of on the rise. Military might is pretty heavy, actually, which explains why it was able to take a brand new starship of this magnitude in. Wealth 7, so not a poor house by any stretch of the imagination, not the richest, but certainly has got a fair amount of whack to it, and is got a very high reputation, thanks especially to Liz throwing a good deal of acclaim and whatnot and milestones into building up the house's reputation. So, like the reputation you're familiar with, it goes from 1 to 5, 3 being average. So, house reputation of 5 is pretty good. It means that House Krell has got a pretty good reputation. The house, of course, and all of its traits and stuff like that can be advanced by yourselves depending on what you choose to do. So, everybody good with all of that? Biffing. Then let's get to the meat of this. I am just going to, if you just excuse me for just a moment, I'm going to find, there he is. Okay, so before Trasa meets her shipmates. We are going to take a brief aside to a space station on the edges of Klingon space. Trasa has recently been posted here from having sided with her Klingon house, and as such has been issued her rank and her uniform, and has been ordered to report to this specific starbase. There she is set to meet with a Captain Cos. The moment Trasa walks through the door, Captain Cos's assistant announces her, and the assistant is then summarily dismissed with a nod as Cos is just there sitting behind his desk reading a datapad. He lets the silence drag out and drag out before eventually looking up as if to indicate that he'd entirely forgotten that Trasa was even there. And then straightens his uniform and stands up. Whilst still reading the datapad, he starts to circle around the desk until he's standing directly in front of Trasa. He then lowers the datapad so he's looking directly at her and looks down at the house insignia on Trasa's lapel. And he just kind of reaches out and fingers it a little bit. The Klingon house insignia. How quickly you were to abandon the Starfleet one for this. Such a shame that such a vaunted individual as yourself comes from such a small house. No matter. As such, we will have suitably low expectations of you. Well, you are standing in the presence of someone from a superior house, warrior. You should be bowing before me. He keeps staring at Trasa defiantly, as if expecting her to do something.
I didn't abandon Starfleet so quickly. I've always been part of the house.
Yeah.
Now it's more official.
At least you had the sense to see that you were on the losing side. Such fools should be made to pay for their arrogance, their insolence, and pretty soon the Federation will learn what it means to be on the wrong side of the Klingon Empire once again. As I said, in that regard at least, you have shown a sense outside of your upbringing and your house bloodline. I am here on behalf of orders sent to me by Chancellor Gowron himself, to gift you with a great opportunity, Commander. You are to retain your rank in the Klingon forces, and you are also to be first officer aboard a ship that it seems the Chancellor has seen fit to award your house. Interesting how Gowron would reward treachery. Many of us have always suspected him of such less than Klingon traits. It is nice to see him show them by attempting to elevate a house who should know their place. Once again, I remind you, Commander, you are in the presence of someone from a house higher than yours. You should be kissing the ring on my finger. I'm waiting.
What house is this person from?
Looking at his insignia, you see that he is indeed from one of the higher houses. This is House Varoth. What you know of House Varoth is that its current head, who is General Varoth, is quite a celebrated warrior. He has led campaigns against the Gorn on a number of occasions. So, as such, he's looked on with quite a bit of favour. So, it's no surprise that somebody from that house would be more than a little up themselves at having such a distinguished patron at their head. Whether or not you choose to believe what he's telling you about bowing and kissing the ring on his finger is entirely up to you.
Well, first of all, he is not rewarding treachery. He is rewarding loyalty.
Loyalty to a
And
snake.
second,
Well, in any case, at least
you're lucky you're with a higher house.
Indeed.
I don't take insults lightly.
Is it an insult to simply spell the truth? Or are you simply too afraid to admit it in front of your betters? In the end, I don't much care. Orders are orders, and around here in the Empire we obey orders, especially those orders sent from our betters and our superiors. And so, I have orders for you. And he hands the datapad. Well, he doesn't so much hand as he just kind of thrusts it in Trasa's face and expects her to take it.
Take it.
Those are the orders containing your transfer as first officer aboard your new ship. Your new toy, the Do Ce'Bach, has recently had a crew assigned it, and they have lost their first officer in his first strike against the Cardassians. As such, you will be replacing their missing officer. And second, there are also orders for you to deliver to your new captain, a Captain Ce'Back, another member of your house, I believe. Such a shame that such a great piece of military hardware should be gifted to those who do not deserve it. Nevertheless, the High Council has issued these orders, and you and your shipmates will be expected to carry them out, or die trying.
We
glory of the
will
Empire.
carry them out. Glory to the Empire. And at least we have the good sense of going out and battling, unlike sitting here and wasting away in a space station. And then she would leave before he can respond.
Trasa hears the sound of something metallic hitting the doors just as they close behind her. There's maybe the sound of a couple of bits of loud swearing, but Trasa doesn't care enough to listen, so she just goes on.
It's not like he's the head of his house.
Well, that guy was not the head of his house. He's a member of a high-ranking house. That's it. He's certainly not the head of it, but you could have. It's easy to be mistaken with that attitude that he just gave you. So, all right. So, sometime later, unless there's anything specific Trasa wants to do, is when Trasa will get posted to her new ship. Now, I've just realised that I have, in fact, misnamed the name of these maps, because they have since been changed. They're no longer
I
Kovich.
just need
Go on, sorry.
I just need the armor and then the new communicator.
Yep, we will get you those momentarily, just after I change the names to protect the guilty. The Do Ce'Bach. Okay, so what we need with Trasa is that she needs to lose the Type 2 phaser, not the weapon of a warrior. It's got stun settings, for crying out loud. What kind of Klingon has stun settings?
Oddly enough, she already had the disruptor pistol.
Yep. Oddly. No, I think we've come to expect that from Trasa at this point. Take away the pattern enhancer and the anti-grav sled, because Klingons have no need of that kind of thing. But I will give you... Can I give you a communicator? No, I can't. Shoot. What I'm going to try instead then is edit this and grab the link to its image. Right, so a Klingon communicator has the following image to it, and has the following text to it. Can I copy that lot? Yes, I can. Spladoik. What we want now is the Klingon uniform. Okay. Which is just a Resistance 1 armor. And once again, we want a different emblem. So there we are. Trasa now has her Klingon armor, her communicator. I can keep the tricorder. Batleth Duktargan Disruptor Pistol. There you are, Trasa. You now have all the trappings of an actual Klingon. So, going back to the Mochbenage, the Do Ce'Bach, pardon me. Where did I come up with Mochbenage? Answers on a postcard. Anybody who's listening in chat. I'm speaking Klingon without realizing I'm doing it. Right. Eventually, Trasa finds her way onto the Vorcha-class ship that she was posted to be delivered to. And so, Captain Ce'Back and the rest of his crew are now meeting their new first officer for the first time. So, since these are your characters now, I urge you to basically greet your new first officer as you expect your Klingon characters to greet their new first officer, knowing everything that they currently know about her. Especially Connie, since you are Captain Ce'Back.
I am sure, because of your decorated career in Starfleet, you will bring glory to the House of Krell.
So, a better reception than you were perhaps expecting.
Yeah. Very nice, Captain. Care for some worms?
Yeah, I imagine I'm trying to get the impression from Lieutenant Shalatha there that it's a case of all we do is eat worms here. Why does it always have to be worms? Here's a new one. Maybe
it's Gach, isn't it? The name is Gach, isn't it?
Yes.
Hello. Care for some Gach? There we are. Just need a minute to get into character.
I value substance over style, which is why Lieutenant Shalatha is on the ship.
So you're saying she's fat?
I'm saying kookiness is tolerated.
Okay.
Very kind.
The creepy and the kooky, belligerent and something. The Klingons of House Krell. No, I can't even match the syllable count there. Never mind. Ignore me. Okay. All right. So, well, Commander Trasa, this is your new crew now, and they're all looking at you with expectation, it seems. So, as for the rest of the crew themselves, obviously you've heard of Trasa, daughter of Katala. Sorry, it's just you see, you meet so many Klingons in Star Trek, and they're all son of somebody. You rarely meet enough female Klingon characters, which I think is something that needs to be rectified in future Star Trek. Anyway, ramble over. So, as members of House Krell, you've heard of Trasa, who's obviously got more of a reputation of being brought up and serving amongst the Federation folk. What you think of that is entirely up to you. I'm First Officer Trasa. For those of us who don't speak Google Translate,
I salute you.
it's a salutation, Google. I should really keep that up. Okay. Well then, if there's anything Commander Trasa wants to say to her new crew... If not, then you have got orders to give to the captain.
Yeah, she would hand the data pad to the captain. It looks like we have new orders.
Okay. The first thing Captain Javak notices is the signature on the orders. Not only the transfer orders of Commander Trasa to this ship, but also who sent her here in the first place. And yes, it was that lovely fellow, whose name I have just forgotten, Captain Kos. Kos, son of Varoth, of House Varoth. And everybody here, under Captain Javak, has a very special salute that they like to give to anybody of House Varoth. Which is to spit on the ground, basically. So, if the captain would like to lead everybody in a salutation to House Varoth.
Everyone,
Touche! I've got noise removal software on my mic, so you wouldn't hear it if I did it, so... At which point, the ops officer probably has to call for cleanup on the bridge. But anyway. Yes, House Varoth are basically known to House Krell as a house who are a member of one of the high houses, but they are known for having a very high opinion of themselves, and they don't like the fact that House Krell has been advancing as it has. House Varoth is one of those aristocratic families, one of those old noble families, and they're very much traditionalists. They don't think that anybody should advance up the ranks unless they are themselves of noble blood. So they very much see House Krell as interlopers. They see them as trying to defy their social status and climb up to ranks they should not be allowed to climb. Same goes for other houses. So House Varoth likewise has a very low opinion of House Martok and other such individuals. Hence your rather gross salute to House Varoth. Nevertheless, reading your orders, you have a very special mission to complete. You are given the mission to proceed to the edge of Klingon space and there to go under cloak into Federation space, whereupon you are to proceed to an area of space known as the Lockyer Passage. Now, Trasa herself will be able to tell you what the Lockyer Passage is, because it is a long, dense tract of linked nebulae, essentially, that form something of a ribbon through a number of Federation territories. This passage is a dense tract of localized ion storms, plasma clouds, plasma eddies, that are basically a nightmare to navigate and very dangerous to fly through. As such, even Starfleet hasn't mapped it. They've stayed well away from it. But the Klingon High Command have decided that if they're going to put an early end to this conflict with the Federation, they need a means of bypassing Federation forces in order to go straight for Cardassia. And if they can get ships to Cardassia, they can quickly overwhelm what few bits of defense the Cardassians still have, thereby grab hold of the civilian government and expose them for having basically had help in overthrowing the military autocracy with the Dominion. In order to get troops and ships quickly through Federation space and bypassing them entirely, Command have decided that somebody has to go to the Lockyer Passage and map it. Think of this almost like mapping the Mariana Trench here on Earth, as it were. It's a place that very few have explored, but if you can explore it, it will give the Klingon Empire a massive military advantage. So even though, in all likelihood, if this mission works, then the Do Ce'Bach would maybe not have the honor in taking part in any assault on Cardassia, but at least will have their name known as the ones who did map the Lockyer Passage. So if you succeed on this mission, your names are sure to go down in the honoured annals of Klingon history. It's more than likely going to be the eye houses that will have the honour of going through the course that you will map and attacking Cardassia, but nonetheless you will share in a portion of that glory by being the first to actually map the passage and allow Klingon forces to get through. This is your mission. It's not going to be easy because it is a very dangerous area of space. And of course there's the added threat of the fact that the Federation cannot discover you. If they find you in a lone Klingon ship in their space, then you are essentially cut off from home. You will be deep in enemy territory with no backup. But think of the glory you will win, House Krell. So, that is your mission. Okay, so unless there are any particular questions about such mission, it's time to get underway.
Do we have specific standing orders if we engage or have a chance to engage either Cardassians or Federation ships?
Well, obviously...
or is the aim to go undetected?
The aim is stealth, is to map this place under stealth. Because if the Federation finds out what you're doing, then, they will probably redeploy forces to protect the passage, and therefore the whole element of surprise of being able to bypass Federation defenses will be for nothing. So if you can help it...
I assume that...
What was that, sorry, Connie?
So I assume that if we do run into someone, we probably would have to destroy them.
Yes.
No witnesses.
Indeed. So if you can get away with it, if you believe you can pretty much either take them out in one shot, or if you believe that that's too risky, then you are given leave to basically try and find means of hiding. Whatever you need to do in order to remain undetected, you have leave to do. So this is a very important mission. No small amount of pressure is put on you for completing this, but can consider this basically a test from Chancellor Gowron to see whether or not House Krell is actually up to this honor. So, any other questions? Okay. So, it'll take some hours to get to the edge of Klingon space, upon which point you will have to engage cloaking device and proceed into Federation territory under stealth. It'll take you about 24 hours to get to the Lakia Passage before you are able to start mapping it. So you're going to be a fair old time in in hostile territory at the very least, on your own, without backup. I'm sure you'll be fine. So, so this means that the usual festivities that go on a Klingon ship when they embark on a new mission are going to have to be put to one side. Normally, when a Klingon ship goes out on a new mission, I mean, this can be done. They're inclined to have the first officer lead them in some kind of glorious song in order to try and set the tone and get everybody's morale up for the mission to come, which can still happen. But obviously the drinking, the merriment, and the singing and fighting is going to have to be put on hold if you're to undertake a stealth mission. So that's got a couple of the lower ranking crew in a bit of a huff, because the normal celebrations have basically been cancelled, but it's all in the name of the mission. So, and as we know from the Hunt for Red October, if anybody has seen it, and I really, really hope you have, singing the Klingon Imperial Anthem is also out of the question, just in case you get detected. So, anything you would like to do, preparations you would like to make, or anything like that before you go on the mission proper? Any preparations? Anything like that?
No, I can't think of anything.
I just want to make sure we're stocked with the Klingon equivalent of an anti-grav sled.
I'm sure something can be arranged. So, as much as we're very much used to Starfleet and Federation standard equipment, it's assumed the Klingons have got the equivalent variety of equipment. So it is assumed that, Klingons are pretty darn strong, but transporting deuterium and anti-deuterium through, or other supplies through the ship, is going to need some kind of cargo sled, and those are usually anti-grav sleds. So it's assumed you've got that kind of equipment. Yes, and of course the ritualistic killing and then cooking of the targ from the targ pits as the first feast of the Klingon mission will probably go ahead. But the festivities are to be kept on the down low when you eventually reach Federation space. So, most on the crew are still not sure what to make of Trasa, at the very least the lower-ranking non-bridge crew. Obviously, they know her by reputation as someone who has been bringing a good degree of recognition and reputation to House Krell, but they also know her as somebody who has come up mostly in the Federation and Starfleet, and therefore has a non-Klingon point of view. So, what means Trasa would like to take to try and disavow them of these notions is entirely up to Liz here.
Shows what they know. She brought Klingon views to Starfleet.
She did, but you might need to prove that to a few people. For instance, they
even
might
though
be...
that the
Go on.
festivities,
Go on.
because the festivities are cancelled, she'll head throughout the ship under guise of getting familiarized with the ship layout
Mhm.
and handing crew members glasses of blood wine.
Glasses. So not full tankards, just enough to bring them some goodwill, but not enough so that they get drunk and bawdy and rowdy on mission. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like she's like, this is the best I can do given the circumstances.
Okay, that goes a fair way to not exactly softening people's opinion, because the idea of a soft Klingon, quite frankly, is ludicrous. But like I mentioned, Klingons very much wear their emotions on their sleeve, so if they have a problem with you, they let you know it pretty quick. Likewise, if they don't have a problem with you, or if they've gone from having a problem with you and changed their minds, they're very quick to tell you as well. So the gesture, at the very least, is appreciated and starts literally making the rounds. So there are now somewhat more favourable murmurs going around the ship about the new first officer, but there's still very much a view that this mission is where she'll have to prove herself as to how Klingon she actually is. So, some hour or so later, the navigator tells the entire crew that the border to the Federation space is now approaching, and so Captain Ce'Back gives the order for silent running, which means that the ship goes down to minimal power mode and the cloaking device is engaged, which means the ship is running with shields down and with as minimal a power signature as you could. Commander Trigok has engaged his own personal cloaking device and has disappeared from view on the bridge. Let me put his... I just noticed his name is gone. There we are. So, it gets a bit tense. Folks are now kind of on edge a bit with anticipation. Not in an anxiety kind of way, but very much knowing now that they've crossed over into Federation space. So from here on in, if the Do Ce'Bach gets caught, then you're probably going to end up having to face off against Federation forces where you are vastly outnumbered. So, we find ourselves outside the Lakia Passage. Now then, I'm going to need to take our brand spanking new ship and replace the one I gave you before. And as we... Can you see this, or is this just a lot of nothing to you guys?
No, I can see it.
Excellent.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
We blend in.
So it takes over a day, but eventually the ship makes its way to the very, very outskirts, kind of galactic easternmost point of the Lakia Passage. So, science and sensors, and basically ops and tactical stations will all say the same thing. There are very definite signs of electromagnetic, basically ion storms within there, which will make scanning and therefore navigation rather difficult. But it will also make, once you're in there, detecting the Do Ce'Bach reasonably difficult. Now, the fact that you chose a mission profile for your ship that meant that you didn't have extra reactors or anything like that means that your power output isn't so huge that it might get noticed. So you've got that going for you, at least. You've now been given the mission directive, map the Lakia passage. And so, yes, your sensors are having quite a large amount of difficulty penetrating too far into the Lakia passage itself. So now it's just a case of seeing how well you do. So, one of the first tests we're going to need to go through here on the Do Ce'Bach is navigating the first set of plasma eddies. This is going to be a control and con test. So it seems like your helm officer is going to be the one doing this job. Since he is not played by any one of you in particular, that means basically anybody can take charge of this guy, who is basically the same as Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang on the Combs.
I can't see Commander Trasa's card, but Captain Javak's also got high control and 2 in con.
Yes.
So might be able to help.
So anybody who would like to help. Now, due to the interference going off from the passage at the moment, the ship's ability to assist in this is practically nothing, which is why the ship is not assisting with any of these navigational roles. It's basically down to training and talent. So, like I said,
Yeah, no,
go on.
I can support him being used to being Federation.
Yep, okay. As has been pointed out, the captain isn't bad either, or the captain can go the route of using presence and command to start directing people in a certain way.
I think I like the idea of presence.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am actually going to bring the ship, its token at the very least, in here too. It's going to look very out of place, to which I apologise, but that'll at least give you access to its character sheet for the time being. So anybody who wants to be the ship, and for myself, accessing some of its traits and whatnot will make it easier for me. So, difficulty with this is going to be 3 right off the bat. So, Shatran, of course, has got control and con, as he's the helm officer, he's very good at it. He's got helm operation as a focus. Hands-on pilot. When you perform impulse, warp, or evasive action or attack, you may treat its assistant die as if it had rolled a 1. However, when somebody else pilots the ship, they can increase the complication range as the adjustments are to everyone. What was that, sorry, Mark?
Sorry, the difficulty of scanning the environment. It's a 3. So, Lieutenant...
Not scanning so much as navigating the first set of eddies.
Okay, navigating. Well, it's the... Because it's increased difficulty, he has the push the limits talent. So when you attempt a con task that has difficulty increased due to environmental conditions, reduce difficulty by 1.
So we're down to 2.
And then... Cool.
So, who's taking Shatran? I mean, it sounds like Mark was just on the money with him there, so
Sure, I'll
you
take
may
it.
as well do it. Was Trasa assisting?
Yeah,
Was the captain assisting as well?
I can.
Yep.
Can I use a navigation focus alongside my command?
Ooh, good point, good point. Yes, yes, yes.
oh,
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I wonder if I can
two,
use my focus as
three.
home control then.
Yes, definitely applies.
So we've got 1, 2,
So,
3,
4...
5. Got 4 people doing it, so it's 5 dice, so
Yep.
no point spending his determination.
Okay.
So control
That's a
and
5, that's
con
already one good success.
using a focus in navigation.
Well, hello. The captain is on the ball, whereas Lieutenant Shatran nearly ballsed up some of the controls there, so that was a near thing. Thankfully, he's got some very professional help. So Trasa scored a great success, the captain scored magnificent success, and your helm officer was obviously a bit too distracted by Commander Trasa. Make of that what you will. 4 successes overall, I needed 2, you've got 2 over, so that's 2 into the momentum pool. Nicely done. The ship enters into the, well, pretty much a portal almost, an opening in the Lakia passage. So you've managed to enter into it, so this is it. You've passed into it and your sensor range is practically 0 at this point. Not entirely 0, but the amount of interference now on your sensors is pretty bad. So, one of the first things you will more than likely need to do is to try and adjust your sensors to account for the interference. Otherwise, you're going to end up piloting your ship into something and not be aware of it until you're practically right on top of it. With a smaller ship, that might not have been too much of a case, but now that you've got this much bigger ship, obstacles and the ability to turn sharply within the Lakia passage is now more of an issue for you. So, with that in mind, we go to, well, science. Let's see. Adjusting sensors will require reason and science. So whoever is best at such would be the best one to actually start adjusting sensors. Anybody who's got a focus in sensors would also be good. Be right back. Okay, no problem, Liz.
So the 2 best is Lieutenants Loldos and Otheka, maybe?
I like
I got a
how,
feeling
without...
sensors.
Sorry, go on. Sorry, Mark, but you essentially sounded like you said Lieutenant Loldos. As if it was, that's as close as I'm ever going to get to try and actually pronounce that name, sorry.
Nope. Yeah, we got the 3 over on the right hand side of the ship have good science and reason.
Okay. So, who is the best at reason and science? Or are they all equally the same? Reason 12, science 5 for the doc. Reason 11, science 4 for the ops officer.
The doctor also has sensor operations as a focus.
Because otherwise she'd be purely medical and then would get nothing but ridicule. So she probably felt like she had to dive into a couple of different roles in order to maintain her presence aboard ship. Okay, so it sounds like Mr. Bell's, Mr. Powell's, characters are both involved in this. So Liz has just gone off briefly, so that leaves us with basically Connie. Do you fancy being the doc?
Alright.
Yep. Sorry. Which attributes am I using?
Right, so you are using reason and science.
Yep.
What focus have you got? So, computer systems. You're basically reattributing sensors, so let's use your computer's focus. You're rolling 1 dice. Oh, wait a second, what's this? You've got computer expertise. You can add a bonus d20. Programming or study of computer systems. No, not in this case.
Okay, just the one.
Just the one from Lethulol DOS, please. And likewise, Mr. P. Let's see. Reason and science from Lieutenant Shilatha. Oh, blimey.
Absolutely.
You're rolling well today, Chris.
Reason, science, and I'm assisting, aren't I? So just the 1 dice.
Yeah, so I'm not
No
seeing any
focus.
focuses that would suggest anything to do with monkeying around with sensors to compensate for interference, so we'll just go with talent alone. You get a success? Okay, cool. It looks like the Doctor is the one that's running this show, so 2 dice, please, Connie.
Okay.
And she's got sensor operations as a focus, so... Oh, blimey, 5 successes. This
And
is
this
one...
is dedicated focus talent.
Oh, yes.
Like, each 1 dice that generates 2 successes. So not quite there, right?
Each d20 that generates 2 successes, so that would be what? No, neither of those, sadly.
Yeah, okay.
But you've also got collaboration. When you choose a single discipline, whenever an ally attempts to a task, they may spend a momentum to use your score. Okay, so that's good to know. So when somebody attempts to assist anything science-related with the doc, she basically yells at them in how to do it properly. And they use her score instead. But nevertheless, that was 5 successes, which was not bad at all, which means you get 2 extra momentum. All right. Your success in this matter means that sensor range has now been extended somewhat, but you're still looking at sensor readings that are flush with static interference. But now you've at least got sensor resolution up to the point where anything within a couple of tens of kilometers or hundreds of kilometers ahead of you will at least be visible, and therefore if there are any obstructions or changes in the eddies or things you otherwise want to avoid, you should now have the ability to detect them before it becomes a problem for you. Moving further on through the field, you've been cruising now at a bit of a snail's pace. As soon as you started entering the Lokia passage, you had to slow to basically a quarter of impulse power, if that, because the orders are for you to get as accurate readings as to the layout of the eddies of the passage as you possibly can. So this is going to be a long mission. It's going to test the resolve of your crew to basically maintain discipline for an extended period of time. This mission could conceivably take days. In that regard, I would very much like the commanding officers to give me a presence and command check to see how well you can keep your warriors focused on the task, rather than have someone just randomly start up an argument, which might escalate into somebody throwing somebody else about, which could make noise, which could, of course, mean that you could get detected. So anybody who wants to help contribute in order to basically get people to stay focused on task and shut up and do their job, can feel free to. But I definitely want to see it from the captain and the first officer.
That's a job for the captain. Yeah.
What's the role, sorry? So it's command and...
This is going to be presence and command.
Oh, I can help with 4 in command and 9 in presence.
Very nice. So that's 4 dice
But
so
it's
far.
a check for each of us.
And I also have a focus.
Can I use a
in-
command? Sorry.
Connie, go on.
Yeah, go for it.
Can I use my command focus?
Absolutely, that's what it's for.
And I've
Telling
got
people to put.
lead by example as a focus.
Lead by
Ooh.
example as a focus. Very, very good. Liz, let's see. You've got inspiration. You can use that as a focus.
So,
Very good at
see,
inspiring
1 dice,
people. So
1 dice, right?
1 dice for you. Yes, going to be 2 dice for the cap. 1 dice for Commander Tragok as well. A success from Tragok. Two from the captain. Good lord. And good grief. Trasa, daughter of Katala, puts her 2 cents in too. 2 successes, 2 successes. Good lord. Okay, so you guys are basically doing a really good job of keeping on top of morale, keeping on top of discipline, and that's the key. You basically remind folks that you are all of House Krell and you have a reputation of being calm under pressure and stoic in the face of challenges. So anybody that accidentally bumps into somebody else in the corridor is basically has to swallow their pride for the time being and behave themselves until the mission is completed. So it requires the captain, the first officer, and with some help from the tactical officer as well, to check in with your subordinates in order to make sure that everybody gets the same speech that, you know, we're House Krell, our reputation relies upon our success of our mission here. Everybody keep to your jobs and we'll all be fine. No grab-assing and that kind of thing. Alright, very good, very good. It's after a day or so of the same monotony that all of a sudden the lights start to flicker. As you come across a rather violent electromagnetic storm that just swirls in seemingly out of nowhere. It starts affecting your systems as your power suddenly drops by half. Oh, pardon me, it seems power is the top one, not the bottom one. So shields is green, power is blue for the Vornak. So all of a sudden you suffer quite a power loss as engineering, Lieutenant Shalatha's purview, reports that there's a great deal of electromagnetic interference coming from outside. It's interfering with your power and relay systems. You basically are going to have to try and reinforce the power grid to compensate for electromagnetic discharges from the passage. So this will require, as you might imagine, daring and engineering to start replicating reinforcement for the power conduits and shunting power to certain systems in order to create shielding for the various important parts of the ship that should really not be going offline from interference.
Ooh, I've got 11 and 4 for daring and engineering. I can definitely do that.
I would also posit that Lieutenant Shalatha, Chief Engineer, should be in charge of it, so with 11 and 5 on daring and engineering, not to mention plasma power systems as a focus. So Mr. P, that's definitely your purview. Tactical has got some experience there. What about ops? Daring 8, engineering 5, so maybe. The captain, anything from the captain? 10 and 3. Daring 9, engineering 4. The doc once again shows that she's quite a well-trained all-rounder. So we definitely want our chief engineer. Mark's volunteered tactical officer Tragok. Anybody else want to jump in on trying to help reinforce the power grid?
I think it has to be Lafulo DOS, right? Engineering 8. I mean 5.
Engineering 5. If he had engineering 8, he would be an engineering god.
O'Brien.
Well, okay.
Even the Klingons know about O'Brien.
Oh yes. Poor guy.
Okay, so you need me to roll for anything?
Yes, please. That would be daring and engineering with 1 dice.
Daring, engineering, 1 dice.
Plasma power systems as a focus, which should apply in this case, I think. So yeah, we can use that too.
1 dice, and yeah. Okay.
Bada boom.
Yeah. Okay. Not
Which means
bad,
the only
but-
one we've got left is our chief engineer, Mr. Powell. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. Sorry. So,
Okay.
daring engineering.
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
1 dice. Did I have any sort of like focuses here?
You've got plasma power systems, definitely.
Lovely.
Two dice for you,
Oh,
sir.
I-
Oh, hell.
So, must have I been. I've not
Yes.
got a Legion of Honor either. That's really upsetting.
No,
I'll roll
no.
1 more anyway.
These are brand spanking new characters, so
There we go.
what you can do is, if you want, spend one of your determinations in order to represent
Yes.
maybe percussive maintenance on something. So trying
Give
to
it a
shield
whack.
something means something comes loose, which means you've got to beat it with a hammer until it gets back into place, so you can re-roll that 20.
Yes, I've done that. I've used the determination, so I'll roll once more.
Please, please.
Use the focus.
That's more like it.
Oh,
Yeah.
1, 2 successes, 3 successes, 4 successes overall. Okay. It takes a little bit of tinkering. Like I said, Lieutenant Shalatha tries to reinforce some things and then suddenly other bits come loose, causing steam and other things to start venting into the engineering compartment, at which point she just smashes it until it stops doing it, and then reroutes power through a couple of systems in order to create essentially shielding for the more sensitive areas of the ship. Obviously, the places that need the most protection are going to be main engineering itself with the power core and the main computer, of which most everything run off of both of them. So as soon as you get those systems shorn up, the amount of interference that your ship systems take from a direct EMP from within the passage is significantly lessened. It doesn't mean that they aren't now worth avoiding, because they really seriously are, but at the very least, if you get hit on the edge of one, or one creeps up on you without any prior warning, then at the very least now you should suffer less of a problem with that. You are down half your power though, so that might need to be something to do next. So if we recall, position tasks, if you want to try and get power back, then somebody can reroute power from various systems and free up power from other sources by using daring or control and engineering at difficulty of 2.
I can definitely help with that.
so
Anybody
daring engineering kind of bodes well for me.
Yep, anything to do with power systems and power management and that kind of thing will definitely help. So if folks want to check the character sheets to see if they've got the ability to do so, it'll be a good idea.
I've got intimidation. Kind of shout at the computer.
I mean, that's to keep your crew members, your engineering crew in line, by all means. Sadly,
Could
the
I
main
count
computer
plasma
is
power
missing.
systems?
Power systems, absolutely.
Cool. Would I be leading on this with 2 dice?
Entirely up to you. If I think you're the most qualified for it, but
Yeah.
other folks
I've
want
got
to help.
11
You can. I'll help, but do you want
daring
to take
and
another
5 engineering.
dice by spending momentum, as we got a full pool?
Yeah. Okay. Can do.
Makes for a good point. Actually, that's
So
another good point I've just
momentum-
noticed. You should be without shields because you were going without. You're going with your
Correct.
cloaking device on. So, yeah.
So knock momentum down by 1. Roll 3 dice. Yeah.
3 dice. Momentum down.
Overall,
Yep.
Rad.
1.
Use focus.
Nice, nice, nice. Not bad, not bad. For 5 successes overall, you needed 2, so that raises power by 1. You can spend 1 of those to put it back in the momentum pool to make it full, or you can spend 1 to put an extra point of power back into the grid, or any combination thereof.
Yeah, full momentum pool and increased power.
Everybody good with that plan?
That's good to me. Immediately put that momentum back.
Put the momentum back. I've just done it and added a point of power back to the ship. Okay. So, slowly, carefully, very, very cautiously, the ship proceeds on. It takes a little bit for anything else to happen, as once again you are creeping along, mapping everything as slowly and carefully and as precisely as you possibly can. That's when Tactical gets an alert that there is apparently incoming stellar debris. Somehow it seems either debris from previous ships who have attempted to make the passage and failed, or other travelling stellar bodies like comets and asteroids and that kind of thing have managed to find themselves trapped within some of the gravitational eddies of the passage, and therefore have clumped together in a rather dangerous band of interstellar debris, and they are coming your way. The best way to get it out of your path is to blast it.
Crew, we're blasting it.
Pew pew.
Now then, I take it we want to use the biggest weapon that you've got on the ship?
Of course.
Oh,
The
naturally.
runting great disruptor cannon on the forward part of the ship? Alright, so somebody can be the ship for this, which will be assisting. Of course, the tactical officer is usually the one in charge of shooting stuff, so that means we're going to want control and security from tactical. And who hasn't rolled much? Liz, do you want to be the ship?
Sure.
The ship will be aiding with weapons and security. Anybody else who wishes to assist using control and security to assist with targeting and that kind of thing is welcome to.
I'll be using my shipboard tactical systems focus.
Yes, yes, yes. The ship itself is suffering from the interference in the passage, and therefore isn't able to get a very good target lock, so it's all down to talent now.
Okay, I'm going to, if everyone's okay with it, steal a momentum and roll an extra dice.
Please do.
I hear no objections.
Come on, do well.
No 20s, so you're good. 3 successes, you needed 2, you got 1 over and above what was needed, so yes, successful. So you can basically, Liz, roll damage. Oof. Alright. 6 in total with 4 effects. The disruptor cannons count as vicious, so that's actually 10 damage in total. Space debris suffered, well, had no chance whatsoever. Space debris is obliterated. It's now nothing but fine clouds of dust. So, at least you know the weapon systems work. It did take a point of power to fire your disruptor cannons. However, you managed to get rid of the stellar debris. The danger, of course, from the debris was the fact that you don't have your shields up, so if it had have collided with the ship, and you'd have missed it, then it would have been, well, not catastrophic, but it probably would have been bad. So far, so good. So, with that little bit of trouble out of the way, the Do Ce'Bach continues on its course. So, once again, all very tedious, all very slow and monotonous. Nothing but the helm officer proceeding forward at a very, very slow pace. Nothing but the science and operations department making sure that the sensors are at full yield and are recording everything they possibly can, as you are continually finding places where you have to stop and back up again before you find another means of getting around whatever obstacles you come across. So it's not all straightforward, just going straight through. You do meet many essentially dead ends and places where you have to slow right down in order to get past and map a course through. Now, the advantage of the fact that you do have quite a large ship is that you will now have a very good idea of whether or not ships as big and slightly bigger than yours, like the Navar class, will have any trouble getting through the passage. So whilst mapping, you also have to make the concession that if you are going to be sending, if the Klingons are going to be sending a fleet through here, probably in single file, then they're probably going to want to send 1 or 2 of their largest vessels, the Navar class, through. And so if you can map a course that allows these huge ships to get through as well, then so much the better. It takes a number of days. There's no evidence of any more plasma storms in your way. You're getting the hang of anticipating now where they might be and thereby how to avoid them. No more evidence of stellar debris that might collide with your ship while its shields are down. The EM surges from the clouds, you're starting to recognize when they are getting close, so you can either put a full stop or protect your systems as you need to. It's then, one day, on day 3 of your venture of mapping the passage, that there is, from the operations and science consoles, another alert, as there is a resounding clang of something hitting the outer hull. And then within about 5 seconds, all the power goes out. So what was it? Power loss.
I have to hit something again.
Sensors reported there was no warning. So, all of a sudden, a lot of your systems are down, navigation is not responding, sensors are offline, the engines are out. Whatever hit you completely knocked out your systems.
Everyone get everything back up now.
Because that means your cloaking device has also been disabled.
Oh,
engineering.
So, yes, first thing that needs to happen is main power needs to be brought back online, which means daring and engineering.
I'm here to support. I've got 11 and 4.
Anything to do with warp engines, warp fields, that kind of thing is
I got
handy.
plasma power.
Yep,
Plasma power systems.
yep.
Yep. Okay. In which case, I'll roll on this one.
Which is
do you wanna-
basically Lieutenant Lethulol Doss head racing down to the engineering section to assist Lieutenant Shalatha.
I was going to say if someone
And-
said engineering. Hello.
Yep.
Do you want to, whoever's leading with power systems, take an extra dice with momentum?
Good plan.
Dokie do. So this is an
Okay, so I'll-
entirely manual job.
Yep. Hello?
Some of the systems are still sparking with electricity and corpuscent static running across them. So something electrical happened that shut your systems down. There still seems to be some kind of static charge running through the ship's superstructure. Nevertheless, in order to bring the ship systems back online, daring and engineering.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna.
this-
Yeah, I'm gonna spend 1 determination for a.
Okay,
Ooh.
determination.
Okay. And I can use focus as well for that
Yep.
plasma power system. So that's 2 dice, is it, for me? Or
So 1 dice for you, and just check the box for determination.
yep.
Which means that other Chris, if you want to either do the same thing, spend a point of determination, or as Mark recommended, buy a dice with momentum, that would give you the maximum of 5 dice in total.
Yeah, I'll buy the dice with momentum.
Cool. So Shalatha rolls 3 dice. Lethulol Doss rolls 1 dice, but does also check the box for determination. I believe you've both got focuses that you can use for this, so woof.
Sure. 3 dice, use focus. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada boom, bada bing indeed. Right,
Okay,
so
that's-
wow. Okay. So Lieutenant Shalatha herself was having trouble getting things back online until out of a maintenance duct, Lethulol Doss just kind of bursts into engineering, covered in
Out of the way.
covered in grime and grease and dirt from having had to commando crawl through the ducts to get here. Nevertheless, he appears to pull some old-timer tricks out of his sleeve and essentially helps Shalatha rewire a few things in order to kick the matter-antimatter annihilation process back off again in quick mark. Which, with a little work, brings power back online.
How does
Main
the
power is up.
giving it all she's got talent work?
Giving it all she's got. So, whenever you do something that has got a power requirement, you can roll a challenge die and lower the power requirement. Restoring, if you choose to do the power management task to bring power back, you can actually restore power equal to your engineering score. I forgot she had that. That would have been useful earlier. But, no problem, Chris. Now that power has been restored,
Yes,
you
we
have to
can-
reinitialize the computer systems. So this is going to be control and science. With anybody who has got any kind of expertise with computer systems or anything like that, because the main computer has to basically boot it back up. If
Yep.
you're short of a few people, then there's always the commanding officers who can lend their assistance in some fashion just by barking orders and telling people to do better.
Yeah, I think that's what Trasa's gonna be doing. Cause
Yeah.
Or science, or medicine, or engineering.
And Lieutenant Shatran has power systems focus.
We're looking at
the health
restarting
using.
the computer systems rather than the power
Never mind.
systems.
Yeah,
So
you
this
can't
is
help,
all to
sorry.
do with computers. Sadly, the one who's good with computers had to go down to engineering in order to try and boot the warp core back online, so he's busy. So there's Dr. O'Kether, who's generally good with science. Maybe not necessarily computers. So it looks like it might end up being the commanding officers, actually. With help, of course, from the Doctor. So control and science is going to be required to reboot the main computer. Unless, of course, you want to use presence and command to start shouting at people to do better.
I'll give him another chance.
Presence and command.
Trasa can
that's
do
good.
it though.
In that case...
Charles is definitely yelling at people because she can't do science.
Okay. So if you're yelling at somebody, then it suggests maybe that one of the best people to help at least, or at least do the rebooting, is going to be Dr. O'Kether for doing science-related stuff. So... I guess Mark. No, Connie, since you're not doing anything with the captain. Or are you doing something with the captain?
No, I'll let Trasa shout first.
Okay, so O'Kether can probably lead
inspiration.
this with 2 dice, using control and science. She hasn't got any focuses relating to... She hasn't got any focuses relating to computers, but what she can do, actually, is... What's Trasa's control? It's only 8. Okay. Never mind. So it's going to be control and science from Dr. O'Kether, but presence and command from Trasa.
With inspiration focus.
With inspiration. You can do it! If you don't,
Am I taking
I'll
a-
kill you!
A point of momentum to roll another dice.
Okay?
I'd say yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. Especially with no focus.
Good choice, good choice.
No! Oh,
Well, you have got points of
Doctor's got
determination.
determination.
determination!
Spend a point of determination, re-roll a dice.
I'll do that. Things must be challenged to prove their own. So,
Yes, I'll do.
there we are.
Much better.
Ah,
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the main computer is rebooted, so ship systems, control consoles start coming back online. Alright. As Lieutenant Lethulol Dos manages to return to the bridge, now that turbo lifts and doors are working again, we're going to assume that Lieutenant Shalatha is still in main engineering, but we'll keep the icon here for, well, giggles, but also for ease of using. All of a sudden, once again, Tactical Station reports incoming ship. The Do Ce'Bach has drifted as the power went out, and so not only does power was like back up to what, half? Cloaking device needs to be re-enabled, which will take 3 power. But also, since the ship has drifted, it's going to need to be piloted safely out of the way of the incoming ship, otherwise you're going to end up colliding with it, or it will collide with you, and that will make them know that there's something and somebody here. So this is going to require a control and con check from your Chief Helm Officer. So,
Is that
Mr.
an
P, are you
evasive
back?
action?
Yep. What was
So
that, Mark?
Would this count as an evasive action?
I suppose so.
Yep. You may treat the ship's assistance dice if it's roll by 1 by using hands-on pilot, meaning no one else can pilot the ship without it being more complicated. So we're only using him to pilot anyway.
Cool.
But it means that the ship's assistance is instantly a 1.
Cool. Ship's assistance is instantly a 1. Nice. What that essentially means is that Lieutenant Shatran has basically reconverted the helm controls so that nobody else knows how to use it. So he's kind of made himself an invaluable member of the crew because the helm controls are now such a weird hodgepodge and is arranged in such a fashion that nobody else knows how to pilot the ship. Which is quite cunning of a Klingon, if I do say so myself. So, Chris, you're back. Great. Just in time, because basically I volunteer you to be Lieutenant Shatran.
Cool. Right.
Unless Mark wants to do it. Actually, no. I've just said you can, so that's fine.
What am I doing, sorry?
Thrall and Con.
Control and con. Was I leading?
Oh, yes.
And you have a focus in navigation.
And thanks to one of
Can
his
I-
talents. Yes, go on.
That's just. I mean, do I need to?
Well, yeah, extra. Extra might be good.
True. I'm gonna do the shouting
Yep.
method of presence and command with a focus in navigation.
Yep.
Like-
Very good, very good, very good.
Steer that ship, you.
Basically, yeah. Set course 2. No, let me think. 2. How does this go? 360. 227 mark. 062, something like that. If I remember how course and navigation kind of thing works with ships. So basically, Captain Ce'Back shouts out an order for a course heading for Shatran in order to basically swerve this ship as quick as you possibly can. So, shields are not all the way back up, and power is very much down to what little there is left in the batteries, as the cloaking device is enabled, and Shatran throws the thing into reverse just in time for the ship, whatever ship it was, to come rolling past you. Now, the next obvious task you're going to need to do is, since that ship passed so close to you, they may have just detected the sudden power surge and ion trail of your impulse engines. So the best thing to do now is to power down systems and just make like you're a hole in space.
What was the difficulty range for that evasion?
The difficulty for that evasion was basically 2, which is a good point. You got 1 back from
This
that.
would also get the extra from the
The ship, which was 2,
assistant.
so that's back to full again. Cool. Thanks for reminding me.
So now we have no power again.
Well, now you've got power, but you have to shut things down basically to go down to ultra stealth mode. You have to put things down into standby mode in order to try and appear as if you're just another bit of debris in space. So this can be control and engineering, and/or control and science, and/or control and security to represent anybody and everybody basically powering down their individual departments. So, anybody who wants to have a go at it, have a go at it.
I can assist.
Absolutely. I mean, the captain or the first officer can basically yell at people to do this and so lead.
Go on, Trasa.
As the first officer basically yells at everybody to power down all systems into standby mode, so that you just appear to be nothing more than a hole in space.
Did Ops get, or are they still in engineering?
Ops is back up here, so yeah, absolutely. Lieutenant Lethul Aldos can. I just did it then. Lethul Aldos can assist with that, absolutely. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got room for one more to help. Makes sense that it would be the chief engineer or the captain.
I'll put engineer instead of captain.
Okay, so it's basically, if it's Trasa, it's going to be presence and command to yell at people to do their job very, very quickly. For everybody else, it's control and either engineering, or security, or what else did I say? Science. So. Oh, Trasa's not leading it.
One dice for me, there's no focus. Ah.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3 people who have assisted. Now we need someone to actually lead it.
I mean, I can always roll another dice.
You can roll another, or you can roll another dice. Excelente. So that's actually 1, 2, 3 successes, as everything is quickly thrown into low power mode. As everyone basically holds their breath, as all the ship systems are powered as low as they can be whilst still being operational, Captain Ce'Back orders the main viewer on so that you can see the ship that just passed you. In all likelihood, you've more than likely missed a Federation ship, maybe a civilian ship, coming past trying to map a course through the pass. So, it's with no small amount of, I'm not going to say alarm, but definitely you're not pleased and are rather surprised to see that the ship that just missed you is in fact a Cardassian ship. And that is where we might leave it for today. With the question of, what's a Cardassian ship doing in Federation space? So, yes, so we basically careened through character creation pretty quickly because, I don't know, it was faster and convenient that I'd already created these characters ahead of time, and folks have just renamed them and seem to be getting on okay with them. I mean, how have you found them?
It's weird being the engineer. I feel like,
Yeah.
obviously, because with Dr. Sot, Sot being a doctor is very situational, whereas the engineer is like on it a lot more. It's a nice change of pace.
I just like how the two people that rolled 20s didn't have Legion of Honor anymore,
Yeah.
but the one character that does never did.
Yes, you're now without all your awards, your badges, your advantages, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of interesting. I have noticed that 1 or 2 characters seem to be statted for almost any possibility. So I think I may have made Thulol Dos, maybe Tregok, certainly Dr. Okitha, rather good at a lot of things. Which in its own way is not a bad thing, I suppose. It makes them available to help in nearly any situation. Except Helm, because Lieutenant Shatran wants him to be the only person who can touch the helm controls of this ship, apparently.
Yeah, Trasa has the Star Cross, the Starfleet Medal of Honor, the 2 Legion of Honor.
Yep.
That's all. The words
Everybody
we have.
else is brand new!
The Starfleet medals still work on a Klingon ship.
Well, that's a very good question, isn't it? Do I take them all away from you because they're not Klingon honors? That might be a bit unfair, but still, everybody else is going without any, so it's an interesting discussion to have.
The funny part is, at the same token, when we go back to the combs, and Trasa's not there,
Yep.
they get all the fancy medals.
Yep. So there's going to be a weird bit of toing and froing going on here, but we'll manage something, I'm sure.
Oh,
Go on.
that also reminds. Who's gonna take over as the new first officer of the Combs?
Well, that's a question, isn't it? That is a question. You can either... The Combs lot can either invite a new character to be temporary first officer, or can reshuffle the entire command structure a bit.
I think it'd be fun to reshuffle.
Yes,
Promote internally.
there's two people that can theoretically be first officer.
Yep.
Woo!
Which would be either your current operations officer, who is second officer and therefore is the most likely to be promoted to that rank. But there's also, of course, Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang, the helm officer, who could conceivably do that task as well, since she is senior officer. She is senior of rank enough. So you've got options. Which was one of the reasons why I was kind of looking up to this little shake-up. So once again, I would very much like to thank Liz for choosing the Klingon side, because it means we're having quite a few interesting little adventures now with A, seeing things from the Klingon side of things, of the conflict, and B, when we do go back to the Combs, ever so briefly, then yes, we're going to have a command reshuffle. See what we can accomplish there. But before we do that, we have to get through this episode first with the Klingon crew of the Do Ce'Bach on their first official mission here in our continuity. So well done, guys. You've got yourself a brand spanking new Klingon ship, and already you've nearly been found out by the Federation and put it through its paces.
Not the Federation, the Cardassians.
Well, okay, yeah.
There's a difference.
There is a difference. My pardon.
Now the question: do we destroy the Cardassian ship and win more glory, or not?
Or do you find out what they're doing here?
We can read it from the wreckage.
Yes, very stealthy of us.
Sneaking. Come on. Then go back to sneaking. Okay. Well, in that case, we're definitely going to have to wait and see what happens next time. So, current plan is to continue this episode next Sunday, the 7th of... Where are we now? Are we still in June, or are we in July?
I'm on the very
July,
last
then.
day of June.
July.
It is June 30th today.
It's June 30th, so it's going to be the 7th of the 7th month. Nice. 7th of July next Sunday. Yep.
I may only be around for the first half because I've got to basically got to go out in the evening.
Okay. No problem.
Yep. Sorry.
Thanks for telling. Incidentally, normally what would happen is we would have the number of sessions together to complete an episode, usually 2. Then we would have a break, then we would have the next episode, and so on and so forth. But in July, on the 21st, some of us, including myself, are going to be busy with a Kung Fu demo that we're going to be doing, and a social afterwards. So what we're going to do is, rather than skip a week, skip a Sunday between episodes, what we're going to do is we're going to run through to the set. We're going to continue this episode on the 7th. We'll then start the next episode on the 14th. There'll be a gap of a week, and then we'll conclude whatever we didn't finish on the 14th on the 28th. If everybody's good for that.
I'm not here on the 28th, but you can go on without me.
Okay. Noted.
So yeah, 21st we weren't available anyway. We're in Bristol for other reasons. But I think besides the 21st, nothing springs to mind.
Okay.
Connie?
Yeah, I think I should be around. Next week's the only one that's I'm going to be half here for. So
Okay. Alrighty. We will go from there and see how we do. Nice. Well then, folks, in that case, I will thank my players very much for making this an entertaining romp and helping us create some rather interesting characters, and of course for engaging in our first official mission as Klingons. Hooray! So, I'm not going to recommend you do like the Vulcans do. I'm going to recommend you do like the Klingons do. Live honestly, loudly, and, well, maybe drink a lot too. In moderation, but, you know, keep your spirits up. And remember to always bring glory to your house and the Empire. In the meantime, thank you very much for everyone who tuned in to the stream. We hope you enjoyed our first foray into Klingondom. And we shall be continuing with this next week, with all due course of luck and success. Until then, if you are viewing this on YouTube and you liked it, consider giving us a like. And until that time, we very much thank you for watching and wish you, well, kapla. And we will see you next time.
Oh, did you see the trait that I or the value that I picked because of the ritual that made the Combs all members of the House Krell?
Are you talking to these guys or myself?
Oh, more you.
More me. I will have a look at that when I get the chance to in just a moment. In the meantime, I will...
It's called What Would the Combs Crew Do?
Nice! I approve. What would the Combs Crew do? Roll 20s if past experience is anything to go by, and then get rid of them really, really quickly. In any case, glory to the Empire and glory to your houses, as we will see you next week. Hailing frequencies closed. Etach.